wanted the best? You've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Welcome to the big show. So we certainly appreciate you guys coming by today. And now, the man on earth who doesn't sell an NFT of himself. That's me, folks. I'm your host, Chris Voss. Welcome to the show. You got to love it. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing gentleman on the show. He's the creator of an app and an inspiring gentleman who's going to make you feel better about life, I'm sure, and maybe your future in life or afterlife or one of those two. And we'll be talking with him today. But in the meantime, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss. Go to youtube.com/Chris Voss. Further show your family, friends, and relatives. LinkedIn, the big LinkedIn groups, LinkedIn newsletter. We just sent out the LinkedIn newsletter for the guy who escaped Scientology this morning. That was a great discussion. So check that out as well. Also, check out the great authors and people we have coming up before the holiday season. It's going to be great. Good time to order books. Good time to get involved with everything that we have going on with the show. Today, we have an amazing gentleman on the show. He is the creator of the God Walk app. Daniel Krynzel is on the show with us today, and he is the head and creator of Godspeed with Daniel. He's got a lot of social channels and an app. I don't even have an app, so he's got more going on than I do. Welcome to the show, Daniel. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. We certainly appreciate it. Give us your .com so people can find you on the interwebs, please.
Yeah, GodspeedWithDaniel.com.
There you go. And Daniel, give us a bit of a real quick bio on you, if you would, please.
Yeah, I've been a business owner since I've been 13 years old.
Wow.
Always had the ability to create businesses and make money. One moment in my business career, I felt empty with a bunch of money in my bank account, and I turned to God, and life has changed dramatically after I've been working directly with God.
There you go. You've got quite a following there on the TikTok. We got to get that TikTok down. We're still trying to get the format down. But you got a good following going on there. You got the Instagram and different things going on. And tell us a little bit more about your life. I mean, what brought you to what you're doing? And then, of course, you've got an app now that's available on iTunes and Google Play.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I've been in the mortgage business most of my life. For 22 years, I was in that game and made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And I was involved in the mortgage business in 2006 and 2007 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Mm-hmm. Now, if everyone knows or have a little bit of information about Nevada in 2006 and 2007, it was quite easy to make money then,
Yeah, it was a crazy time. I lost my 20-year mortgage company about the same time you did.
Yeah, well, then 2008 happened. It was March of 2008 for me, and it was March 1st of 2008 we stopped making money completely.
Yeah. It was I never thought 20 years would come to a freaking crash. In fact, all my businesses, all of our little empire of companies came to a complete stop. That's why I have a podcast now. In fact, I think we started in 2008. Well, 2009 officially, but the social media started in 2008. So you go through basically a cathartic moment in your life then, right?
You could say that. I mean, I did have a foreclosure, a bankruptcy, repossessions. She left, took the kids, had no money, and I had to call my dad to live at his house.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old were you at the time?
Oh man, let's see. I'm 43 now. This was back in 2008, so I was younger. Let's see.
Yeah. So I mean, it's what was that? Was it like 12 years ago? No, 14, 15.
14, 15 years ago.
So you were still pretty young, but you lose kind of a lot of what your identity is. You're wrapped up in. A lot of people are, if they're in a marriage with kids, they're wrapped in the identity of being a husband, a provider. Your of course, your ability to earn and be a provider gets taken away from you. What did you go through? How bad did it get?
It got horrible. I turned to drinking every moment of the day. Like as I would wake up in the morning until I would pass out, just drinking all day, every single day, living on my dad's couch. My dad told me that I could stay at his house. I couldn't have the spare bedroom though, because that was his office where he was able to make money and make a living. So he's like, you got the couch. He goes, you can figure out your life on that couch. No kids, a big business owner, millionaire into, like my dad asked me when I asked him, hey, I need a place to stay. He goes, son, I thought you were rich. I'm like, yeah, I was last month. I mean, that's how fast it happened for me.
Yeah, it wiped out literally almost all of the players. It wiped out all of the brokers. It wiped out a lot of the wholesalers. I mean, I'd never seen a business get wiped off the map of the earth pretty much as wholesale as that was. And then it brought everything to a stop. Like I was, I'm entrepreneurial, so I was always doing stuff. We had a bunch of businesses and everything just came screeching to a stop. And so I was scrambling, trying to start new things and do new things, trying to find something that would hit. I remember my friend said to me one time, he said, Chris, if it came out on the news that you had somehow found success as an international drug dealer, or not a drug dealer, but an arms dealer selling weapons, he goes, I wouldn't be surprised because you've tried everything to get out of this hole with the recession. And fortunately, social media came along at that time, and I started just going, hey, this seems like a great way to get traffic to a website. And it was. So you go through this thing. How did you finally, how did you finally get out of the drinking and get sober?
Yeah. It was one morning. I had about 6 hours of sleep. I wouldn't say I was sober that morning, but I hadn't started drinking yet. So I had 6 hours of not drinking. And I'm walking in the backyard at my dad's house, and God speaks to me, like directly to me, like he's like standing next to me. And with this booming, authoritative, like commanding voice, he's like, son, you're done drinking. And I'm like, who? Okay.
Now,
he's
were
like,
you religious? Sorry to interrupt you. Were you religious up until then? Did you have any inkling of any religion in your life?
So I've always believed in God. I mean, I grew up across a street from a Catholic church in Ohio many years ago. We would go to church, maybe 3 times a year as a family. And then I went to Christian church a few times. So like I was familiar with God, familiar with his voice, familiar with like doing the right thing, following God, but I wasn't practicing it at all, especially when I was drinking as much as I was. I was not serving God.
Definitely. I mean, you're supposed to. I think God's teaching is in the Bible is everything in moderation. Is that?
Yeah,
or is that, am I quoting a different book?
I think so. I'm not really a Bible thumper either, which is really cool because there's no rules with my message. You don't have to read the Bible. If you read the Bible, great. You don't have to go to church. If you go to church, great. I mean, it's all cool.
Is it non-denominational where it's just?
I wouldn't even call it that. There's no church. There's no rules. There's just an opportunity to be able to speak with God and actually have God guide you.
Yeah.
Which
I like that. I like that concept. I remember watching the movie, I think it was Fatima, and it was like, I mean, it's a fictional movie, but it was like the original message of Jesus was, you shouldn't have churches. You should just, have the faith, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It was in the movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good way to do, because I mean, even I just go every now and then, what would these good books, these Bibles, these everything that's written around the world, it's kind of sometimes what used to be kind of a manual for life and how to just be a good person or how to try to be a good person. At least that's my opinion. And so there's a lot of wisdom in those things. But no, this is so really cool. So where did you go from there once you made this discovery?
Well, I mean, he basically took the drinking out of me. He told me not to do it. And this voice was so commanding. Like I said, like I wasn't going to not listen. Like there was no way. I had like this healthy fear and like that obsession to want to drink alcohol. It was like lifted. Like I didn't want it anymore.
Wow.
And my dad's looking at me like he's looking at his watch. He's like, you've been up for like, 3 hours. You're not drunk yet.
Yeah.
No.
Your dad's like, why did he wait till now? Couldn't he have done this 6 months ago?
Exactly. Like, come on, get off my couch, son. Like, that's probably what he's thinking. So So I'm starting to actually like I got custody back of my kids. Things started happening in my life as a result of not drinking. I got healthy, like physically again. You know, I wasn't massively overweight to a point to where like I was like a ticking time bomb for a heart attack or whatever. You know, like I started feeling healthy. I started going to the gym. Then I started building businesses again, you know, because I just went out. I'm like, okay, I know how to make money. Like I'm getting out of my dad's house. Like this is over, you know? So I built a network marketing company. It was great. I was one of the top guys, and you know, it was awesome. I led a team. Things were great. And it just wasn't the money that I was used to making, because I used to own mortgage companies and do big business. So I jumped out of that and I got back in the mortgage business and built a real successful career. Like, you know, 2.0 is really what it was, but the sober Daniel.
The sober 2.0.
Yeah. And this is what happened. It was one morning and I wasn't really, I mean, I would go to church maybe once every 3 or 4 months through this time period. And it wasn't like anything consistent. I wasn't like praying with God every single day or anything like that. Like it was literally like just little pieces. One morning, this is after I've offered ownership position of the mortgage company I was working with. I have my own branch. I have my own team. I'm there super early in the morning because I'm just like the guy that just wants to, like, you shoot me out of a cannon in the morning, you know, like get out of my way. So I'm there. No one's awake yet, you know, and I'm looking at my bank account. It's the 7th of the month. I look at my bank account and I see there was a deposit hit for commissions for that 7 days or 6 days, because it was the day before of work. And there was $131,000. And I'm thinking, well, wow, that was a good 6 days worth of business. And I've got 3 more weeks left of the month for commissions to roll in. I've got other businesses that are like, I'm going to make 3, 4, maybe $500,000 this month. Like, this is a cool month. And then I feel myself like selling myself on like me feeling good. And I said, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I feeling like shit? And why am I trying to sell myself to feel good? So I started praying. I said, God, what is going on? There's something wrong here. Like, I have enough money to do whatever I want to do. I've got all the cars. I've got all the toys. The kids are back in my life. They're healthy. Like, I'm happy. At least I should be. I have everything, but I'm not happy. And he entered into my mind again that morning. It was crazy, actually.
Yeah.
So this is what he said.
What did he say? You're keeping us on pins and needles, my friend.
He says, you're done doing mortgages, son. Just like you were done drinking alcohol and you listened to me.
Did you show him the commission check?
That's what I said. I said, God, I'm good at this stuff, you know? Did you see my bank account?
Yeah, it's like, more money to pay you too. In time.
Yeah, like you can have an override. Just keep them coming in.
Yeah,
like
I'll cut you in.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm sure you won't go to jail for you know, paying you off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what am I going to do here? And he's like, look, you're not doing mortgages anymore. That's why you feel like shit with all the money that you made.
Wow.
He goes, you can keep making money and you can keep feeling like shit. And I'm like, I don't want to keep feeling like shit. Like, I've always never had a problem with making money. Like, I had a 2-year period where I lived on my dad's couch. That was simply because I wasn't sober for 2 years. Like, consistently.
Well, you had to go through the catharsis moments. You know, there's a point of when you go through loss, you have to heal and all that stuff. Go on. So I'm pacing in my office back and forth. No one's there yet. I'm like, this is like a 30, 45 minute conversation with me and God. I'm like, what do you mean I'm done with mortgages? He's like, they suck. And I'm like, well, the adjustable rate ones do.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? I go, the families that I've helped, like I've helped a lot of families. Like, I feel good about that. He goes, yeah, son, you're bigger than that now. You need to help more people than one family at a time.
Wow.
He's like literally like speaking to me, like we're having a conversation. He's in my office. And so I'm like, okay, well, I really don't know what else to say. I'm not going to try to sell you any other way. Like, you've made the decision for my life and I'm going to follow you. Then my team started coming into the office. So then the connection was lost with me and God, and the conversation was over. And I just kind of started doing my thing for the next couple of days. You know, I was still kind of taking calls. They were weird. People weren't saying yes to me when everyone would say yes every single time. Like, I would never miss selling a deal. I was having trouble selling deals.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. Like, did I like lose my mojo? You know, like what happened? Like Austin Powers, you know, like what's going on here? And so long story short, I'm in the chiropractor's office waiting for my adjustment on my back. God jumps into my head again. He says, delete your database. And I'm like, okay, what?
What?
22 years, hundreds of thousands of clients. I have closed clients. I have new clients. I have paid clients. I have paid data. Like I have all this stuff, all my leads, everything, hundreds of thousands of people. And my tech is like up there, Chris. So like I can just do it on my phone. And he knows this. He's like, delete it now before you go in for your adjustment. Delete it now. I'm like, shit. So I delete it. I go to trash. I delete it. No more database. He's like, great. Now you're not going to do mortgages anymore. And then the guy calls me back and I go in for my adjustment. I'm like, thanks,
Wow.
God. Yeah.
Wow. And what year was this?
Oh, this was just a couple of years ago. Wasn't that long at all.
Okay.
So I'm laying on the table getting my adjustment and the chiropractor's pushing on me. He's like, what's wrong with you? You're like really tense. I'm like, yeah, I am. Like my whole body's erect, you know, like he's like, what's wrong? You're going through a lot of stress, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, I guess you could say that. And I couldn't explain the whole conversation with the chiropractor at that point, but
yeah,
that's what was going on.
And so that's amazing. So, I mean, do you quit your job? Do you, what happens after that? I mean, I'm sure your employer or whoever your boss was, maybe, or manager, maybe they weren't too excited about.
Well, remember, I was the owner of the branch. So like, I didn't answer to anybody.
Oh,
you know, I just went back to the office and
okay.
Instead of like closing mortgages or making calls, I started praying.
Wow.
And then like the next morning I started walking and praying. I like got up extra early before the sun was up and I'm literally at the park. I don't go to the park, you know, I'm at the park. I'm like, I need to go somewhere where it's like not my office. It's not my house. It's not my backyard. Like I got to go to the park. So I go to the park and I started walking with God. And it was out of like healthy fear of like what I'm going to do next. I'm like, God, what am I supposed to do? You tell me like I'm more than doing mortgages now. What's my next move? Like I got stuff. Like, you know, I've got these cars, you know,
I got bills, man.
Yeah, come on. What am I
got bills over here?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my lifestyle was huge. It was way bigger than the time before the real estate market flipped in 2008. I like the lifestyle I created was like 10 times bigger.
Wow.
So the expenses and the commitments were 10 times bigger.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of money in the bank at that time, but you know, cash only lasts for so long when you're used to making hundreds of thousands of dollars every month. Like
I've seen that movie.
Yeah. You see that movie.
Those bills tend to eat up everything. I don't know.
They do.
They do. What that's about.
So out of like this healthy fear, I'm walking with God and I developed a rhythm of literally being able to walk and talk with God and ask him for direct revelation, direct coaching. And he started giving it to me. And that's how the Godwalk app actually came to fruition, was out of my own journey of like freaking out going, what am I going to do? What's my next move? And I learned how to like channel and get the answers like on demand every single time.
There you go.
So life has never been the same now.
There you go. And it looks like you've built quite the following. You've got 129,000 followers on Instagram. You had 33,000 on TikTok. I should probably ask you for how to do it, but it's you're doing quite well over there and you're inspiring people. Tell us about the app. Let's get into the details on what's inside this app. What do people get? Is it available on iTunes and Android? I clicked on iTunes and it goes through to the iTunes. But I don't think the Android app is active, Link.
Yeah, so depending on if you're on the Apple store or the Android store, there's modifications being made right now. It'll be back up in 24 hours. We're not accepting new clients yet.
Okay.
But in 24 hours we will. We're making an adjustment. So all of the users that have it now, they still have it. Everything's great.
Okay.
Now inside the App Store, you know, on your phone with Google and with iOS, you can actually download the Godwalk app. All you got to do is just type in the Godwalk app and it will show up. And inside the app, there's 3 boxes, and the 3 boxes are the most important boxes. The first box is the learning box. And that's where literally we took all of the training that you need and we put it inside the app. Like so many people, you've seen this, right, Chris? Like you buy the program from like some coach and then like you get the login and then you got to go to the website to like get the training and download all the portals. And, you know, we don't do that. It's actually on the app. You just literally just look at your phone. It's 6-minute videos explaining to you exactly how to walk with God and how to actually get the answers that you've always been searching for. So that's the first box. The second box is the God Walk app. That's literally unlimited God Walks. You can just click the button. It will steer you on how to have the conversation directly with God to where you can ask questions and get complete coaching directly from God. He will like enter into your mind and you'll be able to speak to text the answers. And the device will actually inside the app save all of the information inside the log. So you'll be able to have everything that you need to be able to go out and just absolutely, you know, kill anything and everything that you want to kill.
There you go. I was able to download the app. I was clicking on their website for the link, but I was actually able to download the app. I don't know how much people are going to be able to see that are watching on the thing. But yeah, I was able to download it, and I'm sure it's on iTunes. I'm just an Android guy. So there you go. You were born to walk with God. Let's go. Click here. And so, what is the app going to do for me? What is it going to help? You know, if I'm a listener out there and want to get involved with the app, what's it going to help me with?
Yeah. So here's the one thing that everyone needs is they need answers. So that's what I needed. Like I needed answers with my business, and it's went way further than that, but it started with that. Like I need business answers. God, you told me to shut down my mortgage company. I did it. I'm listening. I'm faithful. Okay. So now what do I do? And when you're strategic, which strategic is my favorite word, when you're strategic, God will actually be strategic back to you. He will give you the right answers. How many times have you heard this? If you ask the right questions, you will get the right answers. It's just, it's a common known fact. If you go to God strategically, God will actually give you the right answers. So there's a rhythm involved in it. So inside the app, and the training is in the app to where like I break this down to where you can watch everything and you can learn this as you're driving down the road or wherever you're at. What's so important though is you have to walk. You can't sit and talk. This is a God walk. It's not a sit and talk. It's not a lay and talk. It's a God walk. You walk.
You walk with God.
You walk with God
Through the app.
With the app. You just walking with your cell phone. You can be naked. You can, whatever you want. You can, you know, but you got to walk. You got to have your cell phone with you, right?
Yeah. Just be careful saying naked because there's a different kind of app for that. Sorry, I had to do that OnlyFans joke. Thanks to Tom for coming in live on the show. Love hearing about sober folks keeping in business. That was about 5 minutes ago, so I'm a little late on that.
Sweet.
But thanks for the comment, Tom. We certainly appreciate it. So they can download the app. It says 12 months access to all trainings here, unlimited God walks logs. Would you call it maybe a coaching for God walking and your spiritual inspiration interests?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that it's coaching, but here's the thing. I'm not the coach. God's the coach.
Okay.
I'm just showing men, specifically men, to actually connect and walk with God. That's what's most important about this. If you're not in a flow state, if you don't understand how to channel God's revelation and God's coaching, you're just going on a walk with yourself. And that's really not going to be as powerful as being able to channel and actually get the words directly from the creator of the world.
There you go. There you go. So they use the app. They can engage with it and stuff. Do you do any side coaching or any side one-on-one work with people?
So there is a program that we have called Men of God. And that's an exclusive program. You have to qualify to be a part of that program. And we are not accepting any more applications at this point. But when we do open that back up, you know, the men can actually submit their applications and see if they're considered to be a part of that group. What's great about it is we won't even consider you unless you're walking with God consistently, which, you know, we own the app, so we can look at the app and see if you're walking. If you're not walking, then don't submit your application because we're not going to accept it. You know,
there's a lot of people that are coaches just to get some validation. They don't ever follow through on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes just to get validations for your bad behaviors, and you're just like, Okay, well, I just want to know that I was being an evil person, and that works for me. So I'm just running with it. Uh, I've had some coaches come on the show, and they're just like, "Yeah, I think we just have some people that want to be, not all, but we just have some people that just want to be validated. Like, tell me my ex is wrong, and there's nothing wrong with me, that sort of thing."
Oh
But
God.
at least you can definitely, and they might want to talk to him. But so you can go through God. What are do you want to give us some teasers on some of the trainings that are in there? Any specific trainings that you maybe
Yeah.
want to tease out?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the trainings that is inside the Godwalk app is a specific actual training on how to listen for the voice of God and be able to distinguish his voice versus yours.
Mm,
That right there is the moneymaker. And
mm,
here's the reason why. If you're not able to channel God's voice, if you're not able to actually get his voice and it's like your self-will or your voice playing God, you're wasting your time. So there's a specific strategic way to actually know if it's his voice versus your voice. And I break that down inside the training, and it's more than a teaser. Like that right there is the gold. Because when you know that it's God's voice, you're actually operating in God's speed. You're not operating in human speed like most of us are.
mm,
When someone's operating in human speed, that means they're not connected with the ultimate creator. They're not being coached by the person that actually made everything that we see.
mm,
And when you're linked up with that, like these men that are walking with God, their businesses explode. And the reason they explode is because they're getting direct coaching from the ultimate coach of the world.
mm. You find it's hard for people to keep God in their lives because it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to get caught up in the things of the world. Do you find that this is something that can really help people stay focused? Does it send like notifications to remind you to check in?
It does. And one of the major things that will happen once you start walking with God is that you'll notice you have more time in your day.
Mm,
It does the opposite effect. And the reason that I can say that is because when you are actually taking the right steps that God is directing you to take, you're
mhm,
not going in circles, you're going straight right for whatever it is that you're trying to attack and handle.
mhm,
That's been the complete difference for me. Like if I don't have time for a Godwalk app, like there's a big problem in my day spiritually. I have not missed walking with God for a very long time every single day.
mhm.
That's just something that I have to do now because I've like drank the serum, right? I know that like when I'm directed and my steps are directed from God, I'm going to take the right actions.
Mhm.
Some
There
of
you
them
go.
are uncomfortable. Like he puts me through training all the time. He's like,
Yeah.
do this. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do that, but I do it. like, like deleting my database for 22 years of I'm really glad I did that
Wow.
because I hated mortgages. I loved
Mhm.
the money, but I hated mortgages. Come on. Tell me one mortgage broker that really loves to close mortgages. He's not being truthful.
There
He
you go.
just isn't.
There you go. It's an interesting business. It's kind of a pain in the ass sometimes, especially when you have to deal
Yeah.
with realtors. The
Oh my.
realtors are the worst part. Um, I just some of the stuff that they go through, you'd just be like, "Are you serious?" I was a realtor too for 6 years, so I'm throwing egg at my own kind. So don't hate me, but I used to sit in my office, or I used to go into my real estate agent. What do they call them? Broker, real estate broker's office, and I'd sit there and like some of the newer real estate agents would come in and they'd say stuff and then they'd leave and I'd just be like, really? Like that? What the fuck was
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
And he'd be like, dude, you have no idea what it's like to run this place. But there's great real estate agents out there, but a
There
lot of
is.
people get into business as kind of like, well, I'll do it as a side business. It's kind of like, a thing for them.
Yeah.
Anything more? What else do we need to touch on tease out the app?
Well, when you're actually walking with God, you have your God walk log like completely full. You're actually having inspiration. Here's something that's really powerful about the app that I've noticed, in my own life. And this is again how it was created. God spoke to me and I started building this out. There's 3 target areas of life. And if you nail these 3 target areas, your life will completely be full of abundance and joy. And you will be happy in all areas. So the first target life portion is the financial purpose. If
Mm,
you lock down your financial purpose, and it's not about making money, like, look, we talked about this. Years ago, I was making a bunch of money and I wasn't happy. That's not going to last. Like, that's not healthy. You know, you can have all this money, but if you literally are not happy, like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Now, the person that's sitting there going, well, I wish I could just pay my bills. Well, you need to stop focusing on just trying to pay your bills, because that right there is the wrong attitude. You know, you need to look at it in the financial purpose piece. So that's the first piece of life that we break down inside the app, is the financial purpose. The second one is body and health. You got to have your body and health right. If you're not healthy, if your body's not full of energy, like, you can't ride the motorcycle if you can afford it anyway.
That's true.
Or the jet ski or the skis or the whatever you're into, right? You can't do it.
Yeah. Plus, you got to have coffee too.
You got to have coffee. Yeah.
That's my goal.
You got to have coffee. So the third area of life that we target is relationships. You got to be strong in your relationship. The thing is, you can have all the money, you can have the body and everything else, and then you go home sleeping by yourself. That's not too cool, you know? Yeah. Or if you go home sleeping, you know, next to someone that you don't want to be sleeping next to, like, that's not cool either. Doesn't matter how many millions you have in the bank. Doesn't matter if your six pack is like popping out of your shirt or whatever. Like, doesn't matter at that point. Yeah. So
that's
those
true.
three target areas of life is really what the app focuses on.
That's true. I go through that with my older dog. She sleeps with me, but she farts a lot. So I don't know what's going on with her and her age and farting huskies. You don't know what they eat. But no, I love her. I love both my dogs, I should say. Then one of them is going to be like, hey, I thought you said you love one of us. Anyway, but no, yeah, you should. We had an author on the show yesterday. And the show hasn't gone out yet because we're at 72 hours where we run. But one of the things they talked about was having your head right in the game, and also next part, having good relationships that are healthy and people that make you better. And that's a real important factor that people don't get right, because you can get your head straight and in life, but if your relationships are a mess, you have people that sabotage you, people that drag you down, you're going to have trouble keeping your head in the game.
Yeah. I agree. I haven't met one person that has their money right, their purpose lined up, their body healthy, and their spouse completely happy with a great relationship with their kids, and that person not be completely full of joy. Like, I haven't met one person that's not happy when they have all of those corners rounded, you know?
Yeah, well, if your spouse is happy, you're usually happy. That's usually how it works. At least some people say it works. I don't subscribe to it, but I'm in the subscription of happy Chris, happy everyone else. But then I'm a narcissist, so there's that going on. Anything more we want to tease out in the app before we go?
Just know, when you're a man and you want to build your business, your body, and your relationships at a completely different level, God will tell you every single thing you've been searching for. That's literally what the app does. The app is not me coaching you on what to do. It's me coaching you on how to talk to God and how to get the answers directly from God. That is literally what I'm here to share with you. I'm not the guru. I'm not the coach.
Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. So download the app, guys. You can get on the iTunes and the App Store, wherever fine apps are sold or marketed. Which is pretty much the App Store in iTunes, as we see in the show. Anything .coms? Anything more you want to share with people before we go?
Yeah, if you guys want to walk with God, literally go to the App Store on your Android or your iPhone and type in the GodWalk app and download the GodWalk app. Start walking with God. Literally, that is my call to action for you. That right there will give you the most tremendous experience that you've ever been a part of inside of a coaching aspect, is being coached directly by God.
There you go. And check out his other channels. The Instagram one is kicking ass, doing good stuff. Daniel, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate your message and what you're doing out there.
Thank you for having me.
There you go. Thanks, Monas, for tuning in. Go to youtube.com/Chris Voss. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss. Go to linkedin.com/Chris Voss. And did I say LinkedIn or YouTube? You can go to all the damn places. Just search for the Chris Voss Show and the Chris Voss. I'm everywhere. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.